you, choir. That was fantastic. Thank you.
Okay, we have another special guest for you now. Lots of you will be familiar with broadcaster, writer, journalist, photographer, member of the British Toilets Association, and author of a book in my downstairs toilet. I haven't told him that yet, actually. And long-time supporter of WaterAid, including making the film Splish Splash Flush, which I would heartily recommend. There's a very poo theme today, isn't there? Can I please welcome Adam Hart Davis.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks very much for inviting me down here. Thanks too for Ali and for Helen. Helen's fault the whole thing was 10 years ago. Chris and Ali have organised today. And thank you, the singers. What fantastic array. And it seemed to me that several of you were singing in tune. Well, at least you were all singing the same note. I guess it's quite likely to happen with Semed. No, that was really beautiful. Thank you very much. Some people think that sanitation is just a joke, and I've written not only one book, but two books, one called Thunder Flush and Thomas Crapper, and one called Taking the Piss. I actually offered the publisher four reference books, an encyclopedia, an encyclopedia, an encyclopedia, and Enfata. But they wrote back and said, no, cut the crap. So there's still two waiting to be written. The stuff's all there, waiting to be hoovered up. It's not just a joke, it's actually very important. Here in Bristol, in 1830, the infant mortality rate was 50%. Of all the babies that were born, only half lived to be 5 years old. Only half. They died because the water was contaminated. They died of diarrhea, of dysentery, of typhoid, of cholera, but basically because there was shit in the drinking water. And that is deadly for small children. Around the world now, a child dies every 20 seconds. Every 20 seconds a child dies because of the contaminated water. And WaterAid is a wonderful organisation. Not only does it do great good, but it has very simple goals. Clean water and sanitation for everybody. It's impossible, but it's a wonderful goal, and I really, really urge you to support them. This business of singing for water has been going on for 10 years, and it's raised £500,000. Let's double that today. Well, maybe that's a bit optimistic. But please, find a quid or two and put them in these buckets. As Helen was saying, £15 will keep somebody in clean water and sanitation for a whole life. 1 person in 8 on the planet doesn't have access, and we really ought to try and get it to them. It's a major important goal. I went with WaterAid to Bangladesh to see what they were doing, and it was fascinating. We went into the country and we went into the city. The capital, Dhaka, has a huge slum with 1 million people in it, and they nearly all have to use hanging latrines. These are rickety things about, well, a bit higher than this platform, on bamboo poles with a bamboo floor with a hole in the middle and a corrugated iron door that may or may not shut. And you clamber up there, and you can imagine what it's like when it's raining and the bamboo is slippery. And has any of you seen the front end of Slumdog Millionaire? You remember when he falls through? That is what it's like. It's just horrible underneath. And 5 yards away is the water that they use for washing, not, thank goodness, for drinking. But where I've seen WaterAid's footprint is where they have built wonderful new cluster latrines. They're run by women. They're run in small areas of this slum for maybe 100 people. And there'll be 4 latrines for 100 people. And these women are in charge, and they keep them clean, and they make sure that nobody else comes in. And they say it has transformed their lives. It's utterly transformed their lives. Their kids are not ill anymore. They can go to school. The whole family is healthy. It really, really makes a difference. And that's just a concrete loo, a hole in the ground with a septic tank. It makes a huge difference. That and clean water. So please, ladies and gentlemen, please find your generosity and give loads of money to this wonderful charity, which I've been supporting for a long time and will continue to support for a long time further. And once again, thank you, the singers. That was truly wonderful, an absolutely wonderful sight and a wonderful sound.
part of a big choir has been fantastic.
And knowing you're raising money for such a good cause, it's very good.
And the sunshine after the rain this morning.
It's been really nice, lovely singing and lovely weather.
Absolutely, the weather's made it, hasn't it? And the singing was wonderful.
And it's quite a challenge learning the songs in the time frame that you have to produce that sound on the day.
It's been absolutely great. We came 2 years ago, but it was much better today with a much bigger choir.
I got nervous because there's so many of you, so if one slips up, it doesn't really get noticed. But,
It was exciting.
It was very
It was
exciting.
exciting.
Yeah.
We'd like to do it again now, wouldn't
Yes, it will be empty now we're finished. I like the Breakfast at Tiffany's song.
Oh yeah, and the pirate songs were a winner.
Yeah, especially with our young children.
Yeah, our young pirates we brought with us today enjoyed the pirate songs.
I like singing the most.
What's your favourite song? What's your favourite song?
The pirate song.
Go on.
It started off really badly with torrential rain. It looks as though it was going to be a complete washout, and then just gradually grew and grew and grew into a beautiful, fantastic afternoon.
Which is the right way round, because all the singers were standing there this morning with their hoods pulled up, and all they could hear was their own voice echoing inside their pack-a-mac, you know. And then by this afternoon they could at least put the hood down and just hear 100 altos singing the same thing around them. But yeah, it really helped.
Weather aside, the numbers of people that turned up in the crowd.
Yeah.
It was double what my biggest expectations were probably 1,500, but there must have been 2,500 or something.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
The place
was just stuffed with people.
Was full.
Really, really good.
The first time we did this a couple of years ago, and we had 650 singers, and actually the singers outnumbered the audience, and it was very nice that it was the other way around. This time I think word of mouth and a bit more marketing and
people
a bigger team.
just enjoyed the day so much. So many people have come up to me immediately afterwards and said how much they did. Someone said it was a life moment, one of the singers, which is lovely. And people in the audience as well who were very touched by what we were doing and by the whole sound. And the kids all said, can they do it again next year? And yeah. So fabulous.
Yeah.
Everything was marvellous.
Yeah, and one of the drummers has come up to me, Deezy, who was helping out. I said, I'd like to be more involved next time. And so it's this thing of gradually growing it. Gradually growing it.
Does that mean we've got to do it again?
Got to do 10,000 singers next time. What's so phenomenal, we love, Chris and I run choirs professionally, that's our work anyway, is running community choirs that get people singing, who might not normally sing without sheet music, people who maybe got told to shut up at school or, given a complex by a parent or whatever, and we try and bring them back to singing and to expand that and do it on this scale, but take that joy that comes out of the singing and go, all right, we've got so much, let's try and give something back.
Yeah.
It feels great.
The lovely thing as well, there are so many choirs in Bristol and in the southwest, and it's lovely to bring them all together to do something like this. I mean, this is just about the only space in the whole of the region that's big enough to do something like this.
Yeah.
And it's fabulous, and I love it. And I'm hoping maybe in 2 years' time we'll fill the entire thing. Wouldn't you?
Oh yeah,
Shall we?
that's a good goal. 10,000 may be a little scary.
Yeah.
The highlights was singing, actually. I really thoroughly enjoyed singing with the basses. I thought they were fantastic. I really liked the way it was split with the basses in the middle and all the other parts, because I could turn around and hear the sopranos, I could hear the altos, I could hear the tenors. So it was like our own choir on the left-hand side. And it was good. It was good.
Several highlights for me. Conducting the choir, amazing. Just an amazing feeling and sound. I also personally really enjoyed Sam Burns conducting Drunken Sailor with his giant swords, which looked superb but made conducting almost impossible. As I saw him make this move he would normally make for slowdown, and the sword kind of went so I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the talking taps, giving out the signs, and I loved having Adam Hart-Davis and Helen Chadwick here as well to speak, actually having these really committed people involved with it, speaking so well on our behalf.
I enjoyed the Matthew arriving, and it's now just departing. We're taking a few people off on a cruise around the harbour. I thought that added tremendously, because last year it kind of happened by accident, so this year it was lovely to have it as a backdrop. And conducting is a choir that size is quite sort of daunting, because you can't even get them in one sort of view. You have to turn your head to see from one side to another. But I was determined this year to actually try and take a moment to enjoy it, and boy, I did. That was fantastic. The Georgian song, Yarangula, was just
gorgeous. They did it. It did me really proud.